I don't know how to start this. I feel like a goddamn idiot. I think that's the best way to put it. Yes, all right, the Giants lost. Yes, I am live. We'll be here until the Sunday night game starts at 5:20, so we have about a half hour. This is just going to be me venting. My phone's over there. I don't even want to take out my notes. I'll do a more analytical view of football. Just wanted to do a brief little catch-up to let you know that I am alive, and it's tough. It's a tough battle. I'm not happy. Not one bit. Yes, the Giants lost. Yes, Daniel Jones had the best game I think anyone's ever seen out of him. Yes, my fantasy team, despite not rostering a kicker, is kind of struggling. Don't want to call it ball game yet, but thanks a lot, Brian Thomas, for one catch. I don't want to talk too much about myself. This is a football stream. As soon as I see someone say something in the chat, actually, let me double check, make sure that I'm getting through and sounding okay. But once that passes, we're going to get this thing rolling. I have a lot to say. I might just talk about Giants for 30 minutes. I might. We're going to find out. Okay, cool. Stream's going. Got it. All right. Let's discuss. I will be back later, obviously, but I want to do a little rant here really quick. To tell you the truth, I am a Giants fan, as you can tell by this and just the dread that you can see behind my eyes. And clearly no one expected us to win this game, especially not the ESPN predictor. At kickoff, Washington was I don't even know what number that is. That's really not helpful. At kickoff, Washington was about a 70% shot to win. 69%, however you want to slice it. Slowly but surely, that cup kept getting higher and higher and higher until it was set in stone, Commanders dub. I have so much to say. Jeffrey, welcome. I do feel better about my team than the Dolphins do. And here's what I'll say. Giants rushing my Sundays are back, babe. Ruining. Oh, exactly. I'll say this, Jarv. I'll say this much. I'm glad you guys are here. Welcome. It's the first week one. It's a time to celebrate. It's a time to remember how painful football can be. I'm dressing this up a little bit for the stream. And to be honest, I think I'm just going to be sick until the day I die at this point. But I will say, this looks a lot worse than it was. This looks really bad, to be fair. 17 for 37. Russ Wilson was our leading rusher. Malik Neighbors, 5 grabs, not enough. He had a bunch of targets. Now, that being said, did the pass rush get through? Yes. Did the offensive line look good? Oh my God, no. That first half, the offensive line was like, and I've watched some doozy Giants teams. I know there's a lot of weight in what I'm about to say. One of the worst offensive line performances I've seen from a Giants offensive line in my life. At least in that first half. Greg Van Roten, was he even trying? And not having Andrew Thomas is what really killed us. At least Debo over Ladd strategy worked. It did. You understood. And the problem with Debo is he only got 90,000 targets, and he had 10 targets. He hauled in 7 of them. Frankly, I wasn't that impressed with Debo's game. Obviously, he had a good fantasy day, but I just hate Debo Samuel straight up. As much as I can hate an athlete that I don't know, I hate saying that, but it's true. My team, the Bengals, to 6 yards in the second half, and we still lost. No, yeah, we'll talk about the Browns and Bengals, especially as soon as Chris gets in here, Bengals fan Chris. I've got a lot to say about a lot of these games, and we don't have a ton of time before the Sunday night game starts. I might bleed into it a little bit. And I will be back to finish. Did you talk about Danny gutting the Dolphins yet? I'll get there. John, I'll get there. All right, I'm upset. I'm very upset. Now, what are some takeaways with the Giants game? Because I can talk about the Giants for an hour, all right? I don't want to. So much to discuss. Week 1 is perfect time to overreact and have a bunch of takeaways. Couple big notes from the Giants game. Okay, offensive line. In the first half, I've never seen a worse offensive line, at least in recent memory. It made me want to claw my own eyes out. It made me want to burn my skin off. It was terrible. Russell Wilson had a really bad game in the box score, and while he didn't play great, you also can't blame the guy. For how little time he had, only taking 2 sacks, kind of a win. The penalties were super sloppy, and it's week 1. There's going to be more penalties. In fact, my next video, week 1 is a liar. Check it out. It's going to come out tomorrow. If I finish it, I'm barely done editing it, barely started editing it. But the point is that a lot of penalties, that's going to happen. But the offensive line looked awful. I am so sick of the Fox broadcast, or any broadcast for that matter, I'm sure it's going to happen all season. Anytime the Giants have a bad play, the camera pans right to Malik Neighbors, painting him as like this Odell diva, some guy that's going to crash out at the sight of any kind of adversity. He was just cooling it. Yeah, he doesn't like losing. Flash the camera to Tyrone Tracy. Flash the camera to Theo Johnson. Stupid ass Theo Johnson, who can't block or catch. All right, Theo Johnson was LVP. Theo Johnson was my least favorite player. And yes, do I think they'll put in Dart? I don't know. I'm confident. I will say this. I think Dart is the best quarterback on the Giants roster today right now. I don't think the reason they're holding him back is because of he's not ready. I think it's more so they want to make sure that he is developed and as polished as possible. How great can Jackson Dart become before we throw him to the wolves and really test what he's made out of? I was not super impressed by Russ Wilson. That being said, I don't think God himself could have succeeded behind that offensive line. Bellinger over Theo any day. That is exactly the right take. Where the hell was Thomas Fidone? All right, he didn't drop passes in preseason. Theo, on the other hand, had two of the worst drops I've ever seen. I'm like, my God, Theo. People ask me, someone asked me in my fantasy draft, they were like, hey, Hunter, what's Theo Johnson's story? I'm like, he's a tight end and his name is Theo Johnson. I'm not going to talk bad about a Giants player, but that's all I can say. His name is Theo Johnson, and he plays tight end for the New York Giants. He wears 84. That being said, the pass rush got through. The pass rush looked really good. 3 sacks, 2 of which were from Brian Burns, who looked great. A little dinged up at the end there. I hope he's okay. Pass rush looked great. Another 3 or 4 holding calls that would have been sacks had they, not held the defenders. I'm really excited to see where the defense is going. And the first half, the secondary was a little discouraging. Cordell Flott had his good plays, had some bad plays. I'm not going to overreact to week 1, especially because, I don't want to, because if I do, then I'm going to go crazy. But I will say, despite 21-6, despite this box score, despite everything that's on this page, I think the Giants look better than 6-21, and I think the Commanders look worse. I wasn't super impressed by the Commanders outside of Bill Krosky-Merritt. I have him on the bench. I'm excited to start him next week. Outside of that, I wasn't super excited. Here we go. You want to throw Jameis Winston out there first because he's going to be developing receivers. Not bad. Have Jameis Winston throw 100 passes to Theo Johnson at practice and make sure he doesn't drop a single one. Have Jameis be a human jugs machine. I didn't hear Dexter Lawrence's name all day. Dexter Lawrence is great. No one's ever going to say he's not. He's going to catch the double team. We figured out very fast he's going to catch the double team. What really excited me, frankly, was about Abdul Carter blocking a punt and almost blocking one before that. That was sick. If you're explosive enough to get to the punter twice, you're going to be good in this league. I don't think anybody's leaving this game thinking, God, Abdul Carter let us down. Abdul Carter looked awesome. That defense looked really solid. So, wasn't our greatest game, no doubt. You guys need Indiana Jones back. Jeffrey, you're going to get me riled up here. I think if Jaden wasn't as mobile, if Jaden wasn't as mobile, the D-line would do much better. I completely agree. And I think when we play the Cowboys next week, especially because that O-line, didn't look great against the Eagles, I'll say it, because they didn't have Jalen Carter, I just think it's going to be a lot better of a situation. If the Giants lose next week, I'll start to panic a little bit, but for now, I'm just going to chalk it up to week 1 hoopla. All right, the Commanders can get their flowers. They can hang a banner in the stadium for getting to the conference championship game. It's the greatest moment in franchise history. Everybody clap it up for the Washington Commanders. They did great. You did awesome, guys. You did great. So I could talk more about it, and I probably will do more tonight, but I'm trying to be a little quicker because we all have a game to watch in half an hour, so let's be quick. Let's talk about the next game that I'm sure you guys want me to talk about. Jeffrey brought it up. Dan Jones. A couple of facts about Dan Jones that I'm sure you guys have seen, but I just want to repeat. 1, the Colts have not won a season opener since in over a decade. What is 11 minus 25? Since 2014 or 2013. The Andy Luck days. Yeah, Andrew Luck was the last Colts quarterback to win a week 1 season opener, which is, when season openers happen. Did Daniel Jones look really good? Yeah, kind of. I mean, he put it on him. I didn't watch every snap, but I mean, this play alone, and I'm going to get copyright and whatever, but Like, this pass alone was a dart. I was shocked the Michael Pittman usage in this game. I did not expect Michael Pittman to get this much use, put it right in the bucket, right where it needed to be. It's funny that we talk about this game because you guys were here on the last stream, right? When I said this is the who's going to get fired bowl. Don't know if Danny Jones is good or the Dolphins are just bad. I'm going to lean more towards the latter there. The score should have been way worse. Daniels missed Terry for a wide open touchdown. Yeah, and then the Giants had 2 red zone tries that just went nowhere. So score could go anywhere. Jarv, I know it's really easy to be a Giants fan and be really pessimistic. It's been a tough, decade and a half. But there are brighter days ahead in New York. Colts have better weapons and a better offensive line than the Giants, so I expected Dan Jones to play better. That's totally fair. But, like, my friend asked me, he was like, how many concussions do you think Tua has left in the tank before he has to call it? And my answer was, I don't think we'll ever find out. Because I think the odds of him not being the Dolphins quarterback is more so on him not being talented enough rather than his health. Tua looked awful. Terrible. Like, honestly, chips down, probably the worst quarterback of the day. Genuinely, if we're being honest. Bryce Young's a close second, by the way. But Tua looked so bad. 2 picks, a fumble. He gave the Colts the easiest path to victory. It wasn't even a chance. I mean, it was 20-0 going into the half. Dan Jones gets credit. He's going to get his flowers. Another fact about Dan Jones, he was the only player this century, the only quarterback this century to lead a team to not punt on a single drive. Let me say that again. They scored on every single drive. No kneel downs, because what would be the point of that? Just straight buckets. Good for Dan Jones. Tyreek was pissed. They kept cutting to him. Now, that one was more warranted because Tyreek Hill requested a trade. Malik Neighbors is a second-year guy. But I completely agree. Joe Burrow didn't look great. I didn't watch much of the Bengals-Browns game, so I'm sure, Jeffrey, you have a better stance on it. But, like, I didn't watch a lot of that game. You know, why wouldn't I watch Browns-Bengals? But, like, there's so much to talk about this week. So many things. So I'll try and be brief. I'll just run through every game, actually. I'm not even going to open these box scores anymore. I'll just do, like, a quick lightning round take real quick, and you guys can share how you felt in the comments, and I will be... Because, again, we got to watch this Ravens-Bills game. And one thing I've realized is I do not like competing with the NFL. I think I'm entertaining and funny. I would rather watch football than watch myself, okay? Giants-Commanders. I'm not overreacting. I could. I'm not going to. Ravens-Bills. Still think the Ravens are going to win. Bucks-Falcons. Game of the day. I hope you guys were following this one. This was nuts, all right? Penix. Neighbor's going to be requesting a trade. No, he's not. That's the media gaslighting fans. No, he's not. He's a second-year guy. He's not the second coming of Jerry Rice, all right? He's good, all right? This was sick. This game was awesome. Bucks-Falcons, dude. Michael Penix reaches for the goal line, fumbles, but, like, is down. But, like, Antoine Winfield picks it up, but he's also out of bounds. So Antoine Winfield goes and would have scored a touchdown, but they called it dead because he was out of bounds. But if they didn't, they would have called it a touchdown. But Michael Penix ended up being down. And then, like, 8 plays later, the Falcons finally punched it in. And then the Bucks got the ball back. Baker zipped it, touchdown. Falcons get it back, well within field goal range. And Younghoe Koo just bricked it. Straight up bricked it. Jeffrey, if you missed the game, I promise we will go over the highlights tonight. What a game. Easily game of the day. Bengals-Browns. I want to look at Joe Burrow's stats really quick because I didn't actually look at the numbers. 14-23, 113 yards, and a touchdown. 3 sacks. Less than Russ, by the way. Wow. Against the Browns. I mean, good God almighty. That sucks. I'm not trying to disrespect the Browns, Jeff, but I don't think anybody in here thought that, this was a Super Bowl winner. Jerry Jeudy, decent day. Dylan Sampson got some work, 12 carries. I wonder what that backfield's going to look like when Judkins comes back. But Dylan Sampson got some work, not that it's a super valuable backfield. You would see this game and think, oh, well, the Bengals are going to score 100. And then they just didn't. Koo's miss was wild. It was like, how the hell? My friend texted me about the U.S. Open. I look down and I look up. Koo missed it. I was like, what the hell? Crazy game. Obviously, the Bengals didn't look good. We're going to chalk it up to week 1. The Bengals started really slow last year, as we all remember. So they won. All right. Well, a win's a win. It was a must-win game. A win's a win. Let's move on. We talked about Dolphins, Colts. Dan Jones, I cannot wait. And I don't know if there are any Colts fans in here. If there are, I'm looking right at you. I cannot wait. Sorry for hitting my mic stand. I cannot wait for next week when the Colts go into Denver and everybody walks back all this Daniel Jones excitement. He can have his moment. He can have his flowers. Everybody's happy for Dan Jones. I'm not going to be the bearer of bad news here. Yay, yay, Daniel Jones. Next week when the Colts get smacked by the Broncos, everybody's going to walk it back. So when Stephen A goes on tomorrow and says, it's time for Daniel Jones to get some respect, just know that he's talking out of his ass. Raiders, Patriots, the snooze of the day. Nothing really big happened in this game. I mean, there wasn't really a lot of takeaways. Brock Bowers got hurt, but he seems to be fine. Janty scored. Apparently, Kayshon Boutte had 100 yards. Drake May threw a pass that got deflected, but then he caught it and ran. That was kind of cool, I guess. Dolphins might be the number one pick this year. Their secondary is straight bad. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Javon Holland had some misses for the Giants. They need Javon Holland back. Cardinals, Saints. Not a game that anyone expected to be a lot of fun, and, expectations were met. But that said, the Saints put up a better fight than I expected. Marvin Harrison scored, so any of you fantasy drafters that believed in Marvin Harrison, good for you. Trey Benson got 8 carries for 69 yards. I don't know if he was the lead back. He didn't get more carries, but he definitely did better. And as a Trey Benson drafter myself, I'm a little excited about it. I'm not going to talk too much about Cardinals Saints, though, because who cares? Steelers Jets. I'll revisit that because this is my runner-up for game of the day. Panthers Jags. Oh, my God. This score could have been anything. Panthers could have won. Jaguars could have won. Could have been 0-0, 99-99. I don't care. Both of these teams looked really bad. Not in a way where it's like, oh, the defenses. No, man. Trevor looked awful. Brian Thomas had 7 targets and 1 catch. Bryce Young had one of the most crazy head-scratching interceptions I saw all day. Dude rolled out, had a wide-open first down on its legs. Dude zips it, goes off his receiver's chest and into the hands of a Jaguars DB. So, I don't want to overreact to week 1. I'm going to keep saying that. I think the Bryce Young thing is going to be over by the end of this year. I don't see it working out. Maybe he's a guy that has to get warm, get accumulated, figure shit out. I don't think the Bryce Young thing is going to last. Let's be honest. I mean, it was just uninspiring. Just not fun. Dave Canales, I don't want to call him a bad coach, but it just doesn't feel like he knows what he's doing. Titans, Broncos. The Titans put up a much better fight. You guys were here when I said the Titans are going to lose every game, and I'm going to hold that take until I'm wrong. I'm definitely going to be wrong soon. The Titans looked pretty strong. Even though by the end of this game, and it just happened, the end of this game, the Broncos were determined to lose this game. Sean Payton went for it on 4th on the last 2 drives and gave it right back to the Titans. But their defense was so good, it didn't even matter. Calvin Ridley had a huge drop. Once again, the Titans wide receiver core is the worst we've ever seen. The question is Aaron Rodgers back? That's how I'll close. I will close talking about Steelers-Jets. I really want to talk about that game. Niners-Seahawks. Seahawks looked fine. Sam Darnold had some great passes. He had some really bad passes. They lost the game because Sam Darnold went cocked back and put his arm into, I think it was Charles Cross, right into Charles Cross. Owen forced fumble. Nick Bosa falls on it. Ball game. Sam Darnold had some good passes. He had some bad passes. Seahawks are going to Seahawk. Brock Purdy, dude. I was ready to come on here and be like, Brock Purdy's, I'll say it, Brock Purdy's good. Brock Purdy's good. And his Danny Dimes, Jimmy. I know it's you, Jimmy. It's Danny Dimes. No, he's not. I'm not walking it back. I'm glad Colts fans can be happy. Colts fans deserve it. I'm not walking it back. Dan Jones sucks. Catch me in a week. But yes, classic Sam Darnold. If the Colts beat the Broncos next week, I'll do something crazy. I don't know what it'll be. I'll do something crazy. I'll eat cinnamon on stream or something. I'll do something crazy. Why the Seahawks got rid of Geno Smith for Sam Darnold, we'll never know. Exactly. Sam Darnold completely buried it. He completely buried it. Sam Darnold, and Brock Purdy did his best to throw that game away. I was about to give Brock his flowers. Dude threw 2 awful interceptions. And that last touchdown pass was such a tight window that, it was almost picked. It was almost picked. Brock Purdy almost threw 3 interceptions. So, George Kittle's hurt. My friend had a pretty awesome take. I keep referencing my friend, but I thought it was funny. Jake Tongas I got the game-winning touchdown. It was like, fuck it. Jake Tongas is down there somewhere. You buy a Dan Jones jersey. Oh man, my card will default, but I'll try. I'll see if I can get it on discount. I'm sure it's gonna be going for $900. Everyone's all gung-ho on Dan Jones. Doesn't even have to be a legit. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll get a fake Dan Jones jersey. I'll find like some Etsy shirt. That's what I'll do. I'll get like some cheap Etsy shirt and I'll get it. I'll grab it and I'll wear it until Dan Jones proves me right and completely blows it. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Book it right now. And I don't know where Chris Brown is. Once he joins, I'll talk about the Bengals more, or I'll do that tonight. Yes, book it right now. If Daniel Jones has a good game next week, and the Broncos, I'll double down. If the Colts beat the Broncos next week and Dan Jones looks good, or even average, I'll buy some stupid Etsy shirt and I will wear it until I feel like my take was proven right. I'll wear it every stream. Lions-Packers. Boy, the Lions didn't look good. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's almost like they lost 7 head coaches. It's almost like they had a bunch of roster turnover. It's almost like the team didn't finish the season that hot, losing to I'll say it, not great Commanders team. So if you're the Lions, it's week 1, no sense in hitting the panic button, but boy, howdy, Jared Goff struggled. Jared Goff really struggled, it felt like. And his stats aren't going to show that, but it was just uninspiring. Micah Parsons had a sack, and it was the kind of thing, you watch Micah Parsons run down Jared Goff. I'm sure it'll be on this highlights if it'll just load. I'm sure it'll be like right here. It was like the last important play. But this was sick. Look, imagine this. Look at Micah Parsons track down Jared Goff here. Look at this. Look at this. I couldn't imagine a human being running that fast at me, ready to tackle me, especially if my name was Jared Goff and I ran a 6-second 40-yard dash. I couldn't imagine that. Looks like maybe the Texans should have traded Davis Mills for an extra pick to get some offensive linemen. We said it. We said it yesterday. We said it. It was, and we'll close with the Texans. The Texans also look bad. Again, week 1, not going to overreact. The Texans look bad, though. CJ Stroud was sacked over 50 times last year, and the Texans thought, let's trade Laramie Tunsil. That'll work. Dude, they looked awful, bro. And I played the Rams defense in fantasy, so I was just waiting for the Texans to score in the second half. And they left empty-handed. They did not score in the second half. Not great. They had many opportunities. CJ Stroud, I'm not going to call him overrated. I feel like that's a, what's the word? That's a noob take to be like, oh, the quarterback lost, so he's overrated. But, like, he didn't look good. He didn't. Like, we'd be lying to ourselves if we said he looked good. That whole Texans offense really stalled. How many times was he sacked? I didn't watch the game in full. I was trying to quad box it, but it was tough to pay attention to everything. How many times did CJ Stroud get sacked? We'll find out. 3 times for 37 yards. Like, that's 37 yards like left on the table. And what's frustrating about this game is it's a one-score game. The whole time, the Texans could have come back and beaten the Rams, stolen this thing. If the Texans scored a touchdown in the second, they had the whole second half to score a touchdown. Multiple drives where they were within scoring range. If they had just scored a singular touchdown, the Texans would have won this game. I had Nico and he did nothing for me. I hear you. I hear you. I mean, Jaden Higgins, leading receiver with 32 yards. I mean, spread the ball out, but if we're going to get Justin Watson involved, let's get it to Nico as well. The Rams have a really good defense, so it's kind of a is it good Rams or is it bad Texans? It's a little bit of balancing act, but I will say it's like also that dare fumble was awful. I mean, it wasn't awful, it was just like crazy, like that punch out. But if you're going to spread the ball out this much, I don't know, man. I don't know. Just a bad game out of Houston. Not going to overreact, but if we're going to sit here and glaze Dan Jones, the Jags won as well. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, who else? The Jags won. The Colts won. Who's left in that division? The Titans didn't win, but they looked all right. I'm not going to say the Texans are the worst team in the division, but I think there's a scenario where that happens this year. And that's a wild thing to say, considering it's the AFC South. If my team had a kicker, we would have won. Like as in, like the, oh my God, that was I completely forgot about that with the Browns-Bengals. Who is that guy? He had the funny name. He had like the really weird name. Oh God. Yeah, he had that really funny name, and he like missed just 2 easy kicks. Another quick thing: Jake Moody missed a 27-yard field goal. What's the Browns kicker's name? Smith. Sure. Seismith. Yeah, not great. Not great performance out of him. Bricked a field goal, and I'm pretty sure he missed a point after as well. So that's what I mean. You can't be thrilled if you're the Bengals, right? The Browns probably should have won the game. Not good. Not good at all. All right. We got a little bit. We got about, 4 or 5 minutes until we'll get off. Let's close with the game everyone wants to talk about, and myself included. Let's talk about Steelers-Jets. I called this game. Look at this. Get a look at this. This is fun. This is good football. This is what you want to see. This is a good football game. Jake Booty. I don't know why he's still on a roster. Niners, bro, give up. Usually when kickers have a bad season, that's it for him. I don't know why the Niners are still holding on to him. They're stashing Jake Moody for the day he handles 30-yard kicks. It's like, what's the point, bro? He missed a 27-yard field goal. My God. And I hate being the fan where it's like, I could have done that. But like, I literally saw a TikTok where random YouTubers were nailing 30-yard kicks. It's different, but like, Jake Moody, like, give up. All right. Jets Steelers. I called this game the red zone cutaway game. As in, I thought it was going to be like 10-7. I wasn't going to watch. I was just going to follow on red zone. And I was following on red zone, but not because there was 1 or 2 highlights, because it was the only thing on the channel. And I also didn't see any ads. So, that'll probably change, but, for now. Let me know if you saw any ads on red zone. I didn't. But there was so much scoring. I get it. 3rd round pick. That's what I was inferring. I wasn't sure if it was a 2nd or 3rd round pick, but yeah, 3rd round pick, Jake Moody sucks. But Steelers, Jets, Rodgers, who also just such an awful picture, by the way, such a terrible picture. But what a game. What a game. So much happened here. I want to go through the scoring things, the scoring plays, right? Field goal, touchdown, field goal, one punt in the whole half. If I had told you before the season started, Jets Steelers was going to have 1 punt in the entire first half, you would have told me, because they turned it over 9 times. Not because they scored this consistently. 1 punt. The Jets didn't punt in the first half. They had a Dan Jones first half. Okay, then you go to the 3rd quarter, not a great 3rd, and then the Jets just turn it up. They're like, you know what? Let's blow this baby wide open. I saw a couple ads that were 15 seconds in, cut away from games, just audio was the ad. It felt like a second screen thingy. Fair enough. It's annoying. The NFL doesn't need any more money, but whatever. I'd much rather get mad about the Giants O-line than red zone ads at this point. The NFL knows how to manipulate fans very well. Touchdown. Fumble. What was this? Oh, yeah. Kenneth Gainwell fumbled the kick. Fumbled the opening kickoff of the 4th quarter. Right? Steelers get a free touchdown. Rodgers, bro. He looked good. I forget who said it. I think it was Jeff. Is Rodgers back? Yeah, is Rodgers back? I'm not going to say he's not. Justin Fields was surprising. He had some weird passes. No doubt he had some wonky throws. But he was running it well. And so was Breece Hall. Breece Hall had a lot of juice. Way more than I expected. Braylon Allen stole the touchdown, but if you watch the game, Breece Hall was getting out of traffic, running quick, running like lightning. The Jets are fast. And I don't want to overreact to anyone in week 1. And if I were to assign like the Saints of this year, I'd probably say it would be the Colts. But the Jets might be up there too. This is a team that just looked really fast and really good. I don't know if it's going to last, them being fast, but 32 points against the Steelers defense is nothing to sneeze at. And I think if you're a Jets fan, you're definitely not upset. You're definitely, and what I didn't realize was, yes, Aaron Rodgers is returning to New York. That was the big story. But Justin Fields is also going against his old team. So there's a lot of tension, a lot of animosity in this one. And it really did live up to the just frighteningly low hype there was. The Steelers fumbled twice, but recovered it each time. In fact, they had 3 fumble recoveries and 2 fumbles. I don't really know how that works. But then Xavier Gibson lost. I see. My bad. Because the Jets fumbled. But yeah. So just a crazy game. All kinds of scoring. Not impressive defenses. So I guess the takeaway from this game is Aaron Rodgers in the Steelers, It's so crazy it just might work. The Caleb Johnson fantasy drafters are not happy. 1 carry for -2 yards and then a couple kick returns. Last year he was recovering from an ACL injury. That's a really good point with Jay Fields. He definitely deserves a little bit of a break. He got his revenge shot, but couldn't exactly finish the deal. But not a bad game from either side. This is one of those where I thought this was going to be like the Who's Going to Be Fired Bowl 2. I don't think so. I think both these teams, at least right now today, look good. That's it. Right now today, they look good. Right? So, I don't know how long that'll last. Who do the Jets have next week? I'm very curious to see who the Jets have. Bills. So that's going to be a disaster. Bills and Bucks. The Jets will probably have a fun day against Miami, who I think we can all agree Miami may have contention to be the worst team in the NFL this year. And it might be Tua's last year in Miami. They might tear it all down. Mike McDaniels is, to say he's on the hot seat would be the understatement of the century. So, God, man, there's so much to take away from this week. I'm going to do more analysis tonight. We'll go through more highlights. We'll go through more actual what happened, what to actually think. But I think top to bottom, this was a very exciting, very what the hell week 1. And most of my week 1s as of late, I've been traveling. I haven't been able to really sit down and focus on all the games at once. This is the first time in a while where I could actually sit and appreciate every single game and every team, and I was not disappointed. You either had teams that looked really good, teams that looked really bad, straight up shootouts, or there was Raiders-Patriots. Saints or Dolphins, who will have a worse year? That is a great question. The Saints looked better, but the Saints roster is just a disaster. It's a tough call. 13 versus 8 points-wise. The Dolphins didn't score until the fourth quarter. A part of me wants to say it's week 1. No sense in overreacting with Miami. But they literally took Tua out. The game was so far gone. Tua looked so bad. Mike McDaniels has zero respect. Tyreek Hill's offseason distractions clearly took a toll on this team. Jalen Waddle got beat up. He had 5 targets and still left with nothing. Devon Achane scored, but it wasn't pretty. Just losing to the Dan Jones Colts, it's you don't have to win this game, but 8 points. They didn't score in the first 3 quarters against the Colts. I don't even know what the time of possession was because Tua kept turning it over. What was the time of possession difference? Of course, ESPN doesn't say that. It's 2. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the Dolphins had yes, the Colts won the time of possession battle, but the Dolphins had 21 minutes, and they left with 8 points. For all you math heads at home, that's what? A point every 6 minutes of possession? That's not it. A little more than that. A point every 5 or so. What's 21 divided by 8? That's too much math for me. 2.625. 2.5 points a minute of possession. Not great. Joe Flacco, what's 10 yards from having an NFL record? What NFL record? Was Joe Flacco about to make NFL history? Oh, shoot. Ravens-Bills started. Kickoff. Dude, we missed Carrie Underwood. Damn it. All right. All right, fellas. Well, I will be back. How soon till Dart starts now? He may be starting by the Saints game. I'm going to say Dart starts never if this O-line doesn't get figured out. I don't want to see Dart get killed. Yeah, it would break my heart. It would break my heart to see Dart be rushed out to start. But anyway, guys, let's go watch the game. I will be back after Bills-Ravens. We'll do a deep analysis of who wins this game. As I said earlier, I have the Ravens. But until then, you guys enjoy Sunday Night Football. Eat some food. Get some rest. Have a beer. I don't know, pal. Week 1. Football's back. Life's not terrible anymore. Just kidding. I'm a Giants fan. All right. I will see you guys in 3 to 4 hours. Deuces.